All right, everybody. I think it's about time that I gave my thoughts on the infamous poll. Young men driving the decline in sex. Share of men and women between the ages of 18 and 30 reporting no sex in the past year. And obviously, this goes back to 1989, where it was arguably fairly close. There was a massive drop for both parties in, the late 90s. But, a big spike towards the end of the 90s as well, weirdly enough. And since then, it's kind of bounced back and forth. But recently, we're seeing both women, but particularly men, having a lot less sex than ever. Like 18 to 30, like younger, like the Zoomer guys, like Zoomer and I guess early millennial guys, having a lot less sex, particularly a lot less sex than women are now. Now, I know that there's a lot of stuff that goes into this data that is worth considering. It's not this stark. It's not this stark across the entire population. Like there are some variables to consider there, but overall, this is somewhat representative of a trend that is happening, right? And something to keep in mind is this is before COVID. COVID has no doubt made this way worse, but this stops at 2018 before COVID happened, okay? So this is not caused by COVID or anything like this. This is a long-standing issue that seems to have started sometime before or around 2008, judging off the chart, that has caused men 18 to 30 to report having, no sex, right? Now, there's a lot to cover here, okay? I'm going to talk about a reality within our culture that is inarguable and inescapable. Our society teaches men that their value is predicated on a few things. A bunch of things, but a few of those things being how much you can provide to society as a utility, soldier, firefighter, cop, doctor. Are you somebody who provides something to society as a utility? Are you someone who provides something to your family as a utility? Do you provide for your family? Or do you properly meet the expectations of what it means to be a man sexually? A lot of guys base their own and other guys' value around how much sex they have. So many right-wing guys have sex not even for the pleasure or the joy of doing it. They do it because they see it as a obligation they have to meet to keep up the persona that they live by, right? Of being this hyper-masculine pussy destroyer, right? And I've noticed that mindset has started to become popular, even among the very progressive Gen Z generation, very popular with a lot of the younger men, right? It's on two sides. On one end, a lot of these young guys want a relationship. I'm talking 18 to 30 here, by the way. A lot of these younger guys in my age demographic want a relationship. They want somebody to go to bed next to every night that's there in the bed with them to cuddle and not feel alone, and someone to be around and to be a friend and a partner, right? At the same time, a lot of these guys are horny, and they base their value around sex and how much sex they're having and whether or not they're in a relationship, etc., right? And so something that I've noticed, and it really became obvious today. I was in Vosh's chat today, watching his stream, just kind of listening to it while I was doing a little bit of grinding in a game. And he got into an argument with chat over the concept of multiple messages to someone. And I was like, he's got me here. I literally am so self-conscious about whether or not I'm coming off as too needy or too desperate that I will not message someone more than twice if they've left me unread or unread. The most I'll do is twice. I'll message them the initial message, and then a day or two later, if it seems like maybe they didn't see it or maybe they forgot, I'll send an additional message that indicates like, hey, you know, what's up? Like, I noticed you didn't get back to me. And if they don't get back to that, then like, I never message back again. Like, that person is gone from my social life forever, pretty much. Like, that is how I go about it. And I realized, like, fuck, this is so heavily self-imposed. But it's not just self-imposed. Like, it's not just people doing it to themselves. People are also doing it to each other. He went over this, like, instance of this like, gay guy on Twitter who had a hookup with another guy from a dating app, I suppose, the night before. And this, like, I guess, bottom twink who had gotten fucked in the ass the night before by this other guy starts messaging the guy, you know, just fairly reasonable stuff like, hey, I had a nice time. I had fun. You know, like, I hope I didn't make it weird or anything after, like, a few hours passed, no reply. And people, like, jumped onto this guy saying that the 6 or 7 messages he sent, not even in a row, but over the course of, like, 12 hours, 13 hours, just, like, spread out, just asking, hey, just checking in, how are ya, is too much. And it's like, my reaction at first was, yeah, that's too much. Like, immediately I saw the tweet, and I was like, yeah, it's too much, it's too much. They're going way too hard. And so was the reaction of everybody else. But then, like, as Vosh explained it, and, like, just kind of talked about it, I was like, he's kind of got a point here. It is kind of ridiculous to view 6 messages over the course of 12 hours with someone who you just had sex with as being, like, too excessive, you know? Like, we have really gotten antisocial. Like, Gen Z has really gotten antisocial. Like, when you actually stop and think about the standards that Gen Z people will enforce on others and ourselves, it is actually insane how antisocial we have become as a rule. Like, we enforce the idea that you have to, if you get a message, if you were, like, on your phone and you notice that you got a text, you don't text back right away. I don't text back right away. Especially if it's someone that I like. If I have feelings for somebody, I definitely wait, like, 30 seconds to a minute before I text back, because I want to seem like I was busy doing something. It's not even, like, an active thought-based thing. I don't even think that I'm doing it. It's just actively... It's actively just a reflex. I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it. It's just a thing I do because, like, it's been so heavily ingrained, right? It's gotten to the point where relationships are basically whoever says I love you first loses. It's not just Gen Z. Yeah, but the data shows that Gen Z's getting it the hardest for sure. Somebody in Vosh's chat said something along the lines of, it's so bad, or me and my girlfriend's social anxiety is so bad. We've lived together for 8 months, but we're both too nervous to engage sex. So we haven't had sex before because we're too nervous. And it's just like, how are you literally dating and living together, but you're still in the haha maybe flirty phase? I think they said many years even. I genuinely, that lives in my head rent-free from now on. That will never leave my brain, okay? That lives in my head rent-free now. You just ask. Hey guys, like, it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many things that you can get in life if you just politely ask, you know? That's how I had my first ever 3-way. Like, every guy has a dream of getting a 3-way with 2 girls. I got that just by asking. Like, so many guys are like, how's that? How you ask. How do you get a girl to suck your dick? Ask. It's not that hard. If she says no, then, like, all right, it's over. Back off. It's done. She said no. No means no. But ask. Yeah, legitimately. Like, if you're a guy and you're watching this right now and you like a girl and you're like genuinely just like you don't know what to do, she's not going to come to you. I'm sorry, no matter how much she might reciprocate feelings for you, she's not going to come to you the vast majority of the time. Like, that's usually not what's going to happen. It happens sometimes, and that's usually how it goes for me. I don't pursue any women. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, for me, like, it's got to be like a girl slides into my DMs, and it's got to be like obviously not a weird, like, hyper-obsessed parasocial fan. And that doesn't happen often, right? At least not in a way where it's, like, obvious they're hitting up. Like, if a girl, like, slides in my DMs and is just, like, some random stranger trying to start a conversation, it's like, Okay, I don't know if I want to do this, you know? But if it's more forward, then it's like, okay, I guess I know what you're here for, you know? The trans lesbian anguish in this segment. Trans lesbian anguish in this segment? Are you relating to me somehow? Talk to people, join... Okay, chat. Alright, I talked about this before as well in Vosh's chat. I like, told this story, but I feel like I should tell it on stream. Okay. Guys, so much of getting pussy is having a lot of friends who are girls, okay? So much of... And it's like, it doesn't even have to be serious. Girls like sex. Women like sex. They do. There are a surprising amount of women that you probably know that might be, or that you could know, that would be down for a friends with benefits thing. That is a thing that could happen. So the way you get there, primarily, you start with, is by making friends. You start by making friends, right? Now, it's hard to make friends. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy. I think Vosh kind of downplays how easy it is to make friends. I like, if you're going to have friends, you want friends that fit a certain... A lot of the time, it can be hard to find out whether or not a friend is truly right for you. It can take, like, years of knowing them, months of knowing them, right? So making friends is hard. It's a serious time investment, and I understand why so many people are so averse to taking on that massive, like, undertaking from their perspective, right? So here's what I recommend that you do. I recommend that when you go into a social interaction, if you have social anxiety, and that is a big part of this, by the way, guys, so much of this, I believe, is enabled by the fact that now more than ever, we have been enabled to live at home 24/7 outside of work. For me, it's 24/7, pretty much, period, unless I just go out and get groceries, vapes, go for a walk, etc. Go out with friends, whatever it may be. The fact that you can get food delivered to your doorstep from any fast food restaurant you crave. You can get your groceries delivered and cook from home if that's what you prefer. You can get, you've got internet and you've got streaming services with everything on it. Powerful computers, VR. It's just cell phones, instant communication, easily accessible video cameras that are pretty cheap, like the Logitech Brio, where you can do high-quality video calls with friends. Hell, we got Lovenses now, where you can, like, play a fucking pattern through a goddamn sex toy to a girl on the other side of the country to make her, like, come, you know? Like, you don't even have to be there, you know? So, like, now more than ever, we have developed technology that allows people not to have to leave the house. A lot of guys, in particular, not to have to leave the house. And this builds social anxiety. Like, your social skills are a muscle you have to actively work out constantly, or it starts to deteriorate. You can be a social butterfly, spend 6 months as a shut-in, and you are going to be very shy when you go back out into the world to go into social interactions. You are not going to be that big of a social butterfly. But at the same time, take a shut-in and force them to start to open up, and they can become a social butterfly. It's just a muscle. Rhetorically, it's a muscle, but it functions like one. The best place to start... That's so not true, Zan. You're wrong, Baba Ali. So much so that I should ban you. Let me finish, by the way. Actually, I'm going to mute you. Can I mute you? Can I mute? Actually, no. You're just going to get the full-on ban because you said I'm wrong before I finished my take. Social skills are like a muscle. The best place to start, generally speaking, is with just saying hi to people. I used to have a fair amount of shyness when it came to public, like, in real-life interactions, you know? But how I got over it was by pretending like I wasn't me. Pretending like I was, like, shrunk back into the back of my brain almost, and I was projecting a sort of character that I was playing in social interactions. I would plan out what this character's lines were, and very often it's just, hey, how are you? Are you having a nice day? And just be ready for them to ask, how are you? And to say, good, how about you? If that's what they ask. 2 responses. Hi, how are you doing? Or, good, how about you? Depending on what they say. You have your NPC dialogue tree set, right? And eventually it just becomes natural. So much so to the extent that, like, God, it's really fun to do in Seattle as well, because there's this thing called the Seattle Freeze where people are really non-sociable and not used to getting set, like, people waving and saying hi. So, I like to just wave and say hi to everybody I pass on the sidewalk or on the street whenever I go walking to get my vapes or whatever. Every time they are surprised by, like shocked that I did that. Like, that I waved, smiled, and said hello. Have a nice day, or whatever. Just said good afternoon, good morning, whatever it may be. So, the other day, I was I went to the doctor's office to get some blood work done. You know, just general, like, checkup stuff. And, Roseanne is definitely neurodivergent? Probably. Anyway, I walk to the waiting area, and I sit down on the benches where like, you wait to get brought in to get your, blood drawn, right? And get your blood tested. And so, I'm sitting out there on the benches, and one of the two nurses comes out and says, all right, you can come in, Alexander Haley, come in. And I was like, all right, cool. And I get up and I say, hi, nice to meet you, to the two women that are, like, the nurses that take your blood in there. And they just start, like, giggling and laughing. And one of them says, like, doc self, it's public, says, like, we've never heard that before. And I was like, what? And they're like, no one's ever said it's nice to meet you before. Because, like, they're the ones who stick you with a needle and draw blood and stuff. And I'm not afraid of needles or anything, so I don't know. I've never had that fear, but I get how people could be afraid of it. And so, you know, I riz them up if I could say so myself. And as I walk out after they draw my blood, they say, come back anytime. That was really fun. Like, literally all I did was have a smile on my face the entire time. Like, compliment them, say I hope they had a nice day, I hope they've had a nice day. And I was just polite. Like, literally all it takes is being polite, and believe it or not, a lot of people do not expect outright politeness. Like, if you are just nice, like, nice, polite to people, they will be taken off guard by it, especially, like, dude, it is crazy how OP simply being not over the top. I don't even want to describe it. Here, let me describe how I say it. I'll like, basically imitate how I do it when I go into, like, a store, all right? I say, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm having a good one. How about you? Like, that's how I talk. That's how I talk. And I've got a smile on my face, and I keep, like, eye contact, and I'm just, like, you know, I you know, keep body language that's, like, very calm and relaxed. Like, I'm just kind of chilling out. Yeah, like, extroverted pleasantry is what I do. Oh my god, it is so f***ing overpowered. Guys? The owner of my local vape store sells me these boxes for half price. Just because he likes me. I come into the vape store, me and my mom walked in there. I shit you not. And he told my mom that she should be proud of raising such a, like, nice son. I'm not even joking. Me and my mom went in there to buy her vapes, and that guy was there. And he was like, hey, man. Because I go in there literally every week. And she, like, outright told my mom, like, she should be proud. Like, it was wild. It was a wild moment. And he sells me these things for half price. Being nice and polite and extroverted is f***ing powerful. It is really goddamn powerful. Think of it like an RPG, like a Pillow's saying. Put your stats into charisma. Legitimately. Vaping is a sin? Yeah. I don't know. It's just like you get free stuff. Yeah, someone in chat just said they get free gummies from the local dispensary. Like, I literally, I get a similar thing where, like, the local dispensary on me has a really good system where if you pay full price for your order, after your first order, you accumulate 5% off your next order. And if you use it, then, you know, it's back to being 5% after your next full order. But if you save it, on your next full order that you pay for, your next order is 10% off if you choose to use it. But if you don't use it, it goes up to 15, then 20, then 25, to 35, to 40 on your next order. And it's not the next item, it's the next order, up to 60% off. This lady just kind of let me know when it was very clear I didn't know about that deal. I didn't know that deal existed. She just outright explained it to me after I hit that amount of points. Was like, hey, before you pay full price, you have 60% off your order, like, accumulated. There's no reason to not use it now. Like, it's use it or lose it at this point. So, like, you want to just, like, get a really big order, like a massive order of weed and just 60% off it. And I was like, yeah. And, yeah, you know, like, if you're nice and outgoing, like, the people who work as, like, not customer service workers will like that you're nice and polite, and they'll, like, let you know about little secrets and ins and outs and deals you could get to pay less money for the service you're buying. Hell, they might give you something for free. It's happened to me. The best place to train your social skills are with service workers and being nice to them. It's really because you're doing a good thing and you're also doing self-improvement at the same time. You're brightening the day of a service worker who has dealt with enough shit and could really use, like, a positive interaction, I guarantee it. They just based on the way they respond whenever I'm nice to them, it looks like they could have really used a positive interaction. It looks like the kind of thing that sticks with them based on the fact that they recognize me. I really think being nice to service workers, like, extrovertedly nice to service workers, is a good way to start. They'll appreciate it, and it will help you build your social skills. It'll help you start to get to a point where the prospect of making new friends is actually exciting. You'll be in the mood to make new friends, and that is what will spur you to go out and find a social space, such as a Discord server, maybe a game shop, a convention, the park, I don't know. It could be whatever you're into, right? Hell, I've made friends at my local gun range. Like, you can literally just, like, go anywhere that is a public place and make friends if you are outgoing enough. And they may not be, like, friends, like, live, you know, ride or die friends or anything like that, but they'll be acquaintances that you can reliably see when you go to that place and be like, oh, it's you, you know, and you have that level of, like, familiarity already made that, like, that you're not nervous when you talk to that person. That cashier you've already had that positive interaction with that recognizes you when you come back, like, it's not going to be awkward talking to that person because you already know them. You're almost like friends. And by the 5th time you've gotten your groceries and you've gone through from that person, you're friends now. You're like buddies, kind of. Not like friends, but, like, that social anxiety is gone. And building those acquaintances, that list of acquaintances are where you get, like, those hardcore friends. And those hardcore friends are where you can potentially get the best relationships. Guys, I'm going to be honest, okay? The worst thing you can ever do for yourself is get into a relationship with a girl that is not right for you, okay? Like, even outside, my last relationship was with Lonnie, right? And even outside of the problems that were there with, like, her stealing from me and being, you know, it was an abusive relationship, right? That was obvious, right? But even outside of that, there were instances where we just weren't compatible, I feel. For instance, and this is a serious one for me, okay? She refused to ever watch The Lord of the Rings. I begged her every birthday of mine to watch Lord of the Rings with me for my birthday, and she refused, as a point of principle. That is not, like, that actually bothered me. And listen, maybe it sounds stupid. Maybe it sounds stupid for that to genuinely bother me to the core and make me upset about the relationship, but it did. It really actually fucking did. And I actually do think that having enough in common that you're already close friends with a person you end up dating is so important. It's so goddamn important. My friend, for example, who helps me run my Final Fantasy XIV free company, which, by the way, !FC in chat, consider joining the Discord server for the Final Fantasy XIV free company Soul Strikers I run. It is fun as... My friend, Ethan, who runs the server and the free company, his girlfriend plays more FF14 in games than him, arguably. She's a massive gamer, too. Like, they play games together. They run raids together. She's further ahead in FF14's story than him. Like, she got him into the game. Like, the idea... Like, they have a compatible relationship. Like, when you become an adult and you meet a couple that has a compatible relationship and you can just tell these two f***ing work. They're meant for each other. Then you recognize, like, what you actually want in a relationship. And I think that's what a lot of these guys don't realize. A lot of these, like, lonely incel dudes. I think a lot of them have not reached the point of maturity to see a friend get into a truly happy, perfect relationship and realize, wait a second, like you want to find a friend, like a like girlfriend who you were like could be friends with or were friends with initially, right? Like that is the best way to do it. You build a friend group, and from there, it can evolve, right? You're almost never going to end up developing a decent relationship with a stranger. It's just not a thing. It's not a thing. And friends don't materialize out of nowhere either. You have to build that as well. And I think overall, the isolation that has been allowed of a lot of Zoomers is what is causing this. We've just allowed ourselves to be locked up in our homes and just on the computer all day, browsing Twitter, just rotting. So many Zoomers are living that life. And COVID made it really bad. COVID made it normalized and enforced for a while, and it's kind of hard to break out of that. The word friend is in the word girlfriend. Whatever you value about your friends will probably be a good thing to factor into what you want to date. Exactly. Yeah, you'll never make a genuine connection through a dating app either. Those are just for getting laid. God, use protection too, yeah. Anyway, I think that's really all I have to say. God, I have so much more to say about it in reality. I really, really do, but it's hard to get all my thoughts out, and also I'm tired. But I really have a lot more to say on it, and I do want to elaborate more in the future. I want to get more into the guys who are going incel, not because they can't get laid. They can. Quite easily, in fact. They have a good personality. They even look good. They do good grooming, all that stuff. They're good guys who do not have a problem dating, who are getting pushed into the doomer, black-pilled incel sphere because they see the current state of dating as disgusting. I know a lot of guys who are not right-wing incels who are in very happy relationships who view the hookup culture of dating these days as disgusting to them. On like on a core level that they can't quite explain, they are disgusted by it. And it makes them feel alienated and isolated from other people in their generation and the dating world, that so much of it is focused, in their view, on hookups and kink and, cheating and just, it disgusts them. Hookup culture isn't new or even that common. It's true, but people see it, though. That's the thing, though. It doesn't matter. People see it, and it's affecting their view of the dating world and of the state of dating, and it's affecting their view and what they're doing and whether or not they're even trying, right? Hookup culture as someone in a relatively stable relationship has gotten worse. Yeah, it really has. Like, it's deteriorating because of the pandemic and alienation. I think one of the worst things I've noticed is the normalization. Okay, all right. Hot take here. Hot tickety tackety take, all right? I know a lot of guys and girls who are pretty progressive marginally and are heavily put off from the left by its acceptance of open relationships. And admittedly, I've never seen an open relationship work out. I've seen far more of them end up being abusive, awful, like weird bullshit more often than not. They don't tend to work out, especially in the long term. And they tend to just lead to a lot of emotional betrayal and drama behind the scenes. Every open relationship I've seen. So I even feel this kind of off-putting by open relationships. I kind of have a hard time being able to understand it. Hard agree. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, it's just I think, and I'm talking about actual open relationships. By the way, there's a difference between boyfriend and girlfriend bring in another girl for a three-way. That's not an open relationship. Open relationship is both couples are allowed, both or one of the partners are allowed to go out and have sex with other people on their own, right? I really don't think that tends to work out. It doesn't tend to work out, and the perspective of a lot of people that I know that are marginally very progressive are that they see the normalization of open relationships as doomer pilling as to them. They are so fucking doomer pilled. Polycules too. They see polycules as degenerate and disgusting as well. And I'm not even talking about Nazis or alt-righters. I'm talking normies, marginally progressive people, liberals, soc dems, that are just kind of off-put by, like, the hypersexualization that is becoming, like, pretty normalized in the left. And I'm okay with hypersexualization. I think it should have a place, but some people are just kind of off-put by it, you know? And, like, the worst-case scenarios for these things always get the most attention. So they're what color people's, like, perspective on these things, too. What's a polycule? A harem. I think a lot of the guys that are being affected by this are going to relate to the things I'm talking about here. I'm going to put a lot of these thoughts to paper. Not paper, but to text in a text document. And I think I'll do, like, a dedicated... Here's, like, a month of my shower thoughts on this topic in a whole segment. Would you guys like that? Just, like... I just accumulate my shower thoughts for a month on this topic and just do a whole segment on it. That's my goal. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like that. I think that'd turn out really good.